Just ahead on CTV News tonight, Governor Moore addresses juvenile justice reform, and state leaders discuss the state of the county's economy.
County business owners flocked to College Park today. I'm Katara Jones. I'll have all those details coming up on CTV News.
Plus, Prince George's County Sheriff John Carr is here to discuss his role in the county. Those stories and more straight ahead on CTV News.
Good evening. This is CTV News. I'm Byron Scott. Well, the victims of an 11-hour crime spree through D.C. and Prince George's counties has been identified. They are 35-year-old Alberto Vasquez from Woodbridge, Virginia, and Mike Gill, a former Board of Elections member. Now, police say the shooter in this case carjacked several people and shot at police. He, in turn, was shot and killed by police in New Carrollton after allegedly pulling two guns on officers early yesterday. Investigators say the suspect may have been mentally ill. And fire crews were busy this morning in Temple Hills. It was just before 6:45 this morning when they were called to a duplex on the 4100 block of 25th Avenue in Temple Hills. There were no injuries. The cause of that blaze is under investigation. And crews were called to this house on the 600 block of Rollins Avenue in Capitol Heights. Crews arrived to flames coming out of the second floor of a single-family home. There were no injuries, investigators say. 3 people were displaced. The cause is under investigation. And as promised, Governor Wes Moore is taking juvenile justice head-on. The governor announcing, along with other top lawmakers, legislation aimed at improving juvenile justice. He says the measure focuses on accountability, rehabilitation, and collaboration. Moore says it balances rehabilitation, but while also cracking down on crime.
Right now, juveniles aren't getting the services they need. Right now, agencies aren't sharing information with each other. Right now, DJS, law enforcement, and state's attorneys aren't coordinating with each other. Right now, there is no meaningful oversight of this process.
We need to rethink how cases are processed for young people when there is a firearm involved. We need to increase probation when kids need more time to benefit from rehabilitation. We need to be able to respond to situations where a very young person takes someone's life regardless of age. And we need to do all of this while remembering that our children are Maryland's greatest assets. This bill helps us to meet these priorities.
The Maryland Youth Justice Coalition says the legislation reverses reforms passed in Annapolis back in 2022. Well, Maryland Senate President Bill Ferguson calls for surgical cuts to Governor Moore's proposed FY 2025 budget. Ferguson has instructed the Senate Budget and Taxation Committee to, quote, pull out the scalpel when reviewing Moore's budget. The governor has proposed make that $63.1 billion package. Lawmakers in the Senate are likely to find additional reductions and potential fee increases, but both leaders say they're reluctant to pursue tax increases. And you're watching CTV News. I'm Byron Scott. More news in a bit. Stay tuned.
Victor deployed for the first time to Afghanistan in 2003. At 4 in the morning, my phone rang. They said, I regret to inform you that your husband was wounded in action. Victor sustained a moderate traumatic brain injury. I was doing school full-time, and I was also then caring for Victor. One of the most important elements of caregiving is taking care of yourself. I just didn't want to forget that I also had goals and that I also had a life. What I did is I challenged Victor to meet me halfway. He asked all his therapists to help him undertake some of the house chores. There are almost 6 million military and veteran caregivers across the nation. We have our own journey, and we can fulfill that journey at the same time that we are helping our loved one.
Visit aarp.org/caregiving for a free military veterans guide to navigate your caregiving journey.
When it comes to making plans, you are the best. Remember the best planned 90 minutes of your life? Or that surprise party for your parents' golden anniversary? You get the golden planning. The same way you plan each detail for those moments, start planning to protect you and your loved ones from a natural disaster. Sign up for local weather and emergency alerts. Prepare an emergency kit and make a family communications plan. Protecting your family is the best plan you can make.
We need to go meet the guys. I'm lit. Can you drive?
Pool party at Jesse's. Can you drive? Will you drive? I'm a little toasty.
Nope.
Nope.
Nope, I'm high. But I can order us a ride.
Okay.
Friendly reminder, don't drive high. If you feel different, you drive different.
Welcome back. A woman was struck and killed in the parking lot of a Laurel grocery store. It happened at the Food Lion on the 4400 block of Sandy Spring Road at about 3:45 in the afternoon. Police found the older woman lying in a parking lot. She was pronounced dead at the location. The driver, police say, did remain at the scene. The investigation into the incident continues. And the U.S. Department of Labor says more than 4,000 workers in Maryland are owed back pay. About $6.6 million have been recovered by the agency. A large amount of the money is unclaimed because the workers can't be found or the employees change jobs, addresses, or their names. The unclaimed funds can only be held for 3 years before they are turned over to the Treasury Department. To find out if you're owed back money, go to the number 410-962-6211. And one nonprofit organization says the state of the county's economy is robust for business. The Prince George's Chamber of Commerce gathering hundreds of people at the hotel in College Park today. CTV's Katara Jones has that story.
The county's Chamber of Commerce hosted its annual State of the Chamber breakfast today. Organizers say more than 300 business owners, Maryland state agencies, local leaders were in attendance, including Lieutenant Governor Aruna Miller. The nonprofit organization says it has several top priorities this year, including business engagement, community development, and sustainable growth for business owners.
We have a number of businesses in the county that drive our economy forward, and their major contribution to our tax base helps us do things, helps us to employ people, helps us to have sustainable programs, and they're job creators. So we have to really make sure that they are getting the best resources, the best information so they can grow their business and employ people.
The idea is to make Maryland more competitive, safer, affordable, and continue to make Maryland a state that serves. And we did this with the $63.1 billion budget that we proposed by not increasing taxes. Oftentimes we hear that from business leaders. If we can reduce the tax burden, then they can thrive a little bit more. But that's not the only way. We have to make sure that we have capital out there so small business can succeed.
You know, we have 32,000 businesses registered in the county. Right? We have leading industries, and as the Lieutenant Governor said today, Prince George's County is situated to really be at the forefront of all of that endeavor.
The county's Chamber of Commerce has more than 700 members and has been operating in the county for 100 years. Katara Jones, CTV News.
And for more information on the Chamber, go to the website at the bottom of your screen. Well, a popular health care provider has agreed to pay hundreds of thousands of dollars in compensation to resolve allegations that have violated the Americans with Disabilities Act. The Maryland U.S. Attorney's Office and Justice Department says that MedStar Health Incorporated denied people with disabilities fair access to medical care by excluding their support programs. The organization instituted policies restricting the flow of individuals into their building during COVID-19. The provider will now have to pay $440,000 to impacted individuals. And the Sheriff's Department in Prince George's County is a vital part of the county's enforcement, but many might not be aware of the role in the county. Joining us now, John Carr, a local guy from Prince George's County, to talk about what the department does. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Well, talk about what it is you guys do. You're out there every day. What do you do?
So the Office of the Sheriff is a law enforcement arm of the courts. Our responsibility is specialized. We focus on domestic violence, warrants, child support, landlord-tenant, civil. We also are responsible for those who are in custody as far as the courthouse security and transportation of those who are in custody throughout not only the county, but throughout the state.
Give us the difference in the Sheriff's Department and Police Department. Is there any overlap in the two agencies?
So there is somewhat of an overlap. The Office of the Sheriff has been around since 1696. You know, we are the first here in Prince George's County when it comes to public safety or law enforcement. Our role is we're able to not only affect law enforcement and arrest here in Prince George's County, but we also go outside of the county and outside of the state to make sure we're able to apprehend individuals who are wanted by Prince George's County and bring them back. We also focus on domestic violence. We're primary in responding to and also serving peace and protective orders throughout the county. We're also responsible for and the main custodian of all warrants given, submitted, and pushed out through the courts here in Prince George's County.
I know that you had an advisory board meeting. Talk about the board, what it does, and what the goals are.
So the biggest thing, being the sheriff of Prince George's County, we want to make sure that I am an elected official. I serve the citizens. They are my supervisors. So I wanted to make sure that they have the ability to, one, be knowledgeable of what we do at the office of the sheriff. Two, that they understand what is going on in their community from the court services and what we provide. I also want to get feedback from them on what they would like us to do. So when we talk about our community programs, such as dealing with individuals with mental health and also dealing with our juveniles, I think it's very important that we bring the community in our agency, that we show transparency, that we make sure that we are part of our community that we serve.
So the board, if I'm correct, is 8 members of the advisory board. What was the takeaways from the meeting you had?
So a lot of people didn't know exactly the extent of what we do. We actually talked about some of the numbers. My full complement for the agency of the Office of the Sheriff is 363 deputies and also civilian staff, and we cover this whole county of Prince George's County.
But you need more, or you have a shortage, don't you? Talk about how the impact of that.
We definitely need more. We are not as strapped for individuals as far as hiring as some of the other agencies, but I'm trying to grow the agency as a whole. When we look at 363 deputy sheriffs and civilian staff, we realize to cover a county of almost 1 million, we need more staff. So we are actively hiring. So those who are interested in hiring, we want to bring them on. We are looking at trying to find ways to extend and grow the agency. Coming into this office, we actually created a behavioral health unit to focus and address a lot of the mental health issues we have here throughout the county. We've also worked with our federal partners, as we have a few federal task force that we actually work with, from the U.S. Marshals, from FBI, working with our municipal government and partners. These are the things that we're doing to grow and to make sure that we're able to cover the whole county.
So if I can go back to staffing for just a minute, though, those who want to be a sheriff, how do they go about that?
So what they would do is they actually go to the Prince George's County page, the county government page, and actually look for employment. You can actually click on jobs, and you can type in your search sheriff, and you will see all the jobs that we have available, sworn and civilian, on our website. We also have a new website that we're getting ready to launch, and I will be able to provide that information hopefully within a week or so with that, and I definitely will let you know, because we want to make sure that our citizens are able to interact with the agency so that you're able to look up court orders. You're able to actually see if there is a court order, how, has it been served, has it not been served, and how that affects your community.
Okay, John Carr, very informative. Thank you very much.
Thank you for having me.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
And I'm Byron Scott. Coming up next, Simon Buggs in sports.
Hey there, sports fans. And coming up in a bit, UMD women's basketball coach Brenda Fries gives her thoughts on the team's upcoming matchup against Indiana. That story and more coming up soon. Stay right there.
Heather and I had an argument just like any other couple. I was lost and lonely. I had snapped. I had a gun and I was going to take my own life. Heather helped me realize that there was still life to live for the better of myself, my family. My weapon is now safely put away.
My son, Ricky, took his life by the use of a firearm. It broke me in ways that I never knew that I could be broken. And I contemplated suicide. Afterwards, we found out his girlfriend, she was pregnant. If that was my grandson, I was gonna have to be here for him. I still own my firearm. I keep it in a safe because I want to keep my grandson and myself safe.
A moment of crisis can happen to anyone.
Store your gun securely, locked, unloaded, and away from ammo.
And what do these young trees have to do with these creatures? Join us in February as we take a look at the connection between tree plantings and the survival of bats in this region.
So just like any other animal, bats need a food resource. So it's important that these plants are planted to bring the insects that bats eat, which are moths and beetles.
And be sure to tune in next month for bats and the Anacostia River. And now, oh, okay. And now meet our adorable Fluffy Fluff pet of the week. He's looking for his forever home and would do well with any cat lover.
Fluff is about 15 pounds, so not too heavy. He's a beautiful gray tabby. Is playful because he's 2, but not overly excited like a kitten would be.
For more information, call 301-780-7200.
Hey everyone, it's time for your Wednesday sports page. We begin with some college hoops news. The UMD women's basketball squad will try to avoid 3 straight losses tonight as they face off against a Big Ten rival in Indiana. The Lady Hoosiers come into College Park with a 17-2 record and are ranked as a top 12 team in the NCAA. And head coach Brenda Fries touched on one player in particular that could give the Lady Terps some problems.
We're going to have our hands full with Indiana, a great team led by their All-American with Mackenzie Holmes. Ton of great talent around her as well. It's a disciplined team, a really well-coached team, a ranked team that's coming into our home court. So we're looking forward to playing 40 minutes of great team basketball together and trying to move that needle to improve every time we step out.
The 2 teams will take the court at 7 o'clock. Switching to some Terps baseball news, Matt Swope is heading into his first year as the head coach of the team. The New Carrollton native has a history with Maryland as he played for the Terps baseball team from 1997 to 2002 and also was an assistant coach from 2017 to 2022. And Swope is happy to be coaching at his alma mater.
It's everything to me. Growing up in PG County, living in D.C., and my parents went to Maryland, it's everything. It's as simple as that. Oh, I went here, I walked, I know where the classes are at, I've walked the same streets, I was in the same locker room. It just brings a little bit different element to the job and to how you feel about it every day. I tell people all the time, this is a lifestyle, it's not a job. And it's something that's been a part of my life since I was born. So I'm just honored and blessed to be the head coach here, and it just means more to me.
Moving on to the NBA, congratulations to Wizards rookie Bilal Coulibaly for being named to the roster for the Rising Stars game. This game showcases players who have the potential to be future stars in the league. Coulibaly has played well for Washington, ranking top 5 among rookies in total steals and blocks, and top 10 among rookies in points, boards, and threes. He is also one of 3 rookies to have at least 40 steals and 30 blocks. The Rising Stars game takes place on February 16th. And wrapping up sports, the Baltimore Orioles will be under new ownership as philanthropist and Baltimore native David Rubenstein reached an agreement to purchase the team for $1.725 billion. The Birds were previously owned by Peter Angelos and the Angelos family since 1993, where they bought the franchise for $173 million. And that is your Wednesday sports page. Simon Buggs, CTV Sports.
Thank you, Simon. A quick check now on our weather forecast tonight. 34 degrees, mostly cloudy with a patchy fog. Then sunny throughout the rest of the week. Tomorrow, 53 degrees. Friday, temps reaching a high of 51. And Saturday, sunny with a high near 49. And that's the news tonight. I'm Byron Scott. We'll see you tomorrow night. Good night.
The power of the knock is food. Your stew's delicious. I'm 88 years old, and I was with the Ice Capades when I was young. Now, being as old as I am, I lose balance. I don't like ending up this way, but what am I going to do? I got Meals on Wheels for the 5 years that I've been here. It's nice to know they come, and if you feel like talking, you can talk to them. I could talk for forever. They're totally a blessing.